So is this a lie or not? Let's see.
Who's the best space dog? Oh, где моя хорошая, хорошенькая моя, ты просто космическая. Eh? Who's the best hairy cosmonaut? It is indeed a lovely sunset, and it reminds me of the skies of Peru. I didn't? I never told you about the wonderful Sky City? Well, it was an extraordinary place, but one filled with dangers. Well, it might have been simple for you to cross it, but you were in a space capsule. I had to rely on my own 2 feet, my noshki. Feet which, I might add, had just crossed the interior, beaten the villain Toll, and helped inspire the Myank to a workers' revolution.
Sure.
That's all very easy for you to say, but your idea of civilized behavior is licking your own bottom in public. No. My adventures above the clouds were filled with untold dangers, death-defying escapes, and some really quite extraordinarily large Bielorybitsa. And it happened like this.
So is this still the same story? I mean, he actually met Laika, so the story is maybe true, but he just don't have an ending. I'm totally confused and I have no idea. And what's true, he says the little Orpheus is lost. What's not clear to me is if the ending is true. I don't know, it doesn't matter. Bonus episode, the rush of something was too slow to read. I mean, this
Weeks had passed since I left Plutonia, and one evening, exhausted, I simply fell asleep at the foot of a strange windmill. And when I awoke, weeks had passed since I left Plutonia,
Sure.
and one evening, exhausted, I simply fell asleep at the foot of a strange windmill. And when I awoke, well, that thought didn't cross my mind. I was exhausted after all. This is besides the point, my nosy canine friend. What matters is this. When I awoke, the windmill and the ground around it had been carried high into the air. What magic was this? Что за магия? As unlikely, perhaps, as a suitcase-sized dog orbiting the center of the Earth for many years. Quite.
Okay, so I guess I'm in Sky Island somehow. So now I'm at the surface again, right? And we still
Quick
kind of
as a
skip the
flash,
part.
Kakmonia, my training leapt into play, and I began to paddle the strange contraption through the clouds in search of answers. It is entirely possible that a miller who owns a windmill capable of levitating high into the air may also own a flying machine. Oh, now you're just being silly. May I continue my recounting of how I sailed over the sky gardens towards the mystical city of Peru?
Sure.
Oh, I must, my moi ushati drug. I must.
I mean, are we at this Earth surface or is this still the interior? But just at a higher spot? Because I lost track. I mean, you can say this is a happy end. This guy just have the story, be true or not, is out of question, doesn't matter. But at the end, he doesn't have to be executed. Well, it's a happy end. Everyone is happy. We get an interesting story. Also, the commander or the general was also very amused by the story. Even though he was pissed at the end, at the beginning, and also at some point in the middle. But at the end he was amused, so I'm just wondering how the report will be.
What powerful emanations! What mighty gusts! What an epic squall! They reminded me of Cousin Pavel, yes! But whereas his rearward zephyrs could curdle milk and tarnish the teaspoons, these magical wafts only serve to carry me aloft and onwards.
So you're saying your cousin farts a lot? Yeah, I know how to play this. I just don't know what exactly this will do. Let me try again. Maybe I should point to the... I guess I control the wind. So now this will move upwards, yes. Very simple mechanisms, but also a very deadly one. Imagine you just go here inside and someone turn it down. But I guess this will not happen. I'm a very lucky man.
But something was afoot in the gardens of Perun. This horrid muck staining the surfaces and making my nose curl. Yes, it was positively Pavelian in scent. But it did not belong here. I think I once told you of Auntie Masha's passionate encounter in a cable car with the manganese entrepreneur from Chatura. Now, Auntie Masha told me that there was a disagreeable stain and smell all around those factories and smelting works. Our industry is not without its dangers. Could it be that the once bucolic gardens of Perun were being corrupted by unchecked pollution? After all, science is a double-edged sword, my bristly confidant.
What is this story?
Consider Zemikov. Of course. I apologize. Proшу прощения. Two-headed dogs is perhaps a rather insensitive analogy, but not without justification in this instance. I have seen the blemished lands around Norilsk, but I could not believe that I would find such pollution here. But this was nothing
It's
to
about
the
pollution,
true horror of what
okay.
was shortly to unfold.
So the story is about pollution. This is a twist. You should say so. It is fascinating about this man's imagination, really. I'm really have respect to this guy, or actually to the author in this case. Okay. Womp, womp, womp. Wobble, wobble. Yep, sorry. I had my child moment, so... Do I have to turn it down? Okay, actually I have to turn it down, okay. Because usually I just go up and not down. But I guess in this case I should. This is kind of a slow process. But at the end there's no danger anymore, it's just me being here alone somehow. This is me?
That terrible Strashnaya machina, spewing its poison into the air, had created a monstrous thing. A being. A malignant spoiler of the noble and pure. And it had taken on the form of its prey. Well, of course. No, конечно, I was the prey. The citizens of Perun had clearly long since fled the evilly sentient smog, but I inadvertently wandered into its lair. Oh, I know. Misfortune seemed to dog me. Oh, sorry, I do apologize. To follow my every footstep. But no time to ponder, no time to bemoan the hand that fate had dealt me. No, all that was on my mind was escape, конечно.
Sure. So you're not trying to save this place? Sky Island? But just leave? And this is also a solution. Since there's no one here anyway to save, so we can just leave it abandoned. But the question is still, how do you land on this place? You should have just slept and then you wake up here.
Yes, it was most interesting. The windmill seemed to be from an earlier age. Perhaps this was a devastating warning of the destructive power of unfettered industrialization. I most certainly had not forgotten about the windmills. I did not get carried away. You are missing the point. Perhaps because you are only a small dog. Oh, a brilliant, brave, spacefaring dog, of course, but a small Savashka nonetheless. If you perhaps listened more and interrupted less, I am just getting to the explanation of the windmills.
Sure. I can fly, which is kind of nice. Can I do it again? Whee! It's like skydiving, I guess. A little bit. I've never tried, so I can't really say for sure. But yeah, let's just go forward and hear the explanation about the windmills. So, the windmills. What's the deal with it? Tell me. Nothing happens here. Also, the background looks very impressive, I would say. I mean, a city in the sky is kind of like... Of course.
My stinky nemesis was back. But more interesting was the change in the city.
Okay. I died, sorry. I said, a city is in the sky. This is settings for many books and stories. I mean, this is kind of fascinating, having a flying island.
My nemesis was back. But more interesting was the change in the city. The windmills were fading out, clearly obsoleted, mothballed, relics. Instead, a sense of an obsession with power was apparent. Vast engines, terrible machines, ever hungry and reliant on the rapid consumption of fuel, the production of toxic fumes and choking gases. Pride, my pushisti compadre, pride, ambitia, ambition, the dark side of science. Zemechov's had too many. Don't be ridiculous, dog. Only a Durak with the intellectual capacity of a ringworm would think windmills are in any way harmful.
Okay, so this guy's just talking about our industrial world and its consequences. The industrial evolution and its consequences, okay. Missed opportunity to make this joke, doesn't matter. I'm sure some of you are thinking of it. I mean, probably this was exactly the joke and then just, yeah, say it out loud. You know, because you can't destroy a joke if you say it out loud, and I actually just did it. Okay, yeah. Looks cool, looks nice. I guess my goal is the thing in the background, huh? But I guess I need this car to go there. And I have no idea what expects me. And maybe this episode is taking longer than expected. So I have to make sure I still have enough time for everything else. Because I have probably something like 15 minutes. Okay, this was not the goal. I mean, not the solution. I mean, I guess this is the solution. I was just too dumb to jump. So, yes. So, let's see how this story ends. Because I really have no idea. Okay, so what now? Do I have to do it again? I guess so. Should be easy enough. Because it's just already here. But the wheel looks broken, so I'm not sure about this one. Let me try. Okay, no, it's not broken. I'm just making this weird sound, I guess. So, to the left, to the right, to the right, okay. And I guess to the top. And I don't know, I guess you're jumping from balloon to balloon.
Of course, you never had much of a chance to travel. Sarcasm doesn't suit you. You don't have the tail for it. You do, at least, have a tail. Mind you, family gossip maintained that so did Uncle Rabliem. Although it was apparently little more than a stub, and a source of considerable discomfort and social anxiety for him. The question of whether or not Uncle Rabliem wagged his stub is very much off topic. What I am trying to say is that your upbringing on the streets of Moscow meant you never saw the blackened fields of Magnitogorsk. The sacrifices made by the valiant citizens of that industrial heartland, as they drowned in their own blight, even as they powered the state forwards. I was reminded of Magnitogorsk as I wandered through those fields of pipes and foundries. And I wept for the loss of innocence that so often goes hand in hand with progress.
It looks like I'm in a toxic cloud. And this guy just telling stories about something different. And I guess here I will be chased by the enemy, by myself, at some point again. But yeah, this one is not as interesting as the other. But I mean, it is a bonus episode, so I will take a hit. So this is fine. And let's see how the story will end. Will I stop the pollution? Will I just go home? Or maybe I don't have a good ending for this again? Sure, of course. It's fascinating that this guy never dies in all of the stories. Yeah, I'm chasing by myself and I somehow hurt my legs. This is a combination which is not so great. But luckily this guy is not that fast. This smelly monster. And I guess you have to jump. Yeah, sure.
Indeed! I just evaded the slimy, oily grasp of that man-made Vadzinoi, his petroleum stink clogging my nostrils and making my head thump. And I felt a great stirring within me. Yes, much like I assume Cousin Pavel. May he never get loose again. But no, quite different. This was no volcanic upbubbling of gastric malintent. No, it was the roaring fires of justice once more ignited within me. I felt a swell of patriotic fervor and knew the hand of destiny had fallen on me once more.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, what a hand it was. I could not see this great wonder sink into an abyss of poison and bile. The Perunians may have been forced to abandon their city, but I had saved the world once before and was ready to answer the call again.
Sure, if you say so.